Hi everyone! Nice to have you all here for this session of French Tech Connect, a special edition. I'm super glad because we have for once only girls talk today. So I'm Isabelle from French Tech Seoul. I'm the vice president this year. You may have seen me around in a lot of different events over the time. So I'm just going to introduce super briefly the session. I'm going to also explain you a bit how this platform is working and the plan for today. So yeah, first, a little introduction of the platform and how this can work and how you can interact with us for the whole session. So as you can see on the side of your screen, you're going to have a chat. This is the live chat where we're going to be able to see everything that you say, including what Soo-Kyung says and hello. You're going to have also the question part where you can leave during the session at any time that you want question for us to discuss after the session. And if you want, down on your screen, like below my face, you're going to have a little smiley and you can send me love if you like what you're hearing. So yeah, that's basically how we can interact together. So this session for today is going to be, I'm going to hand over the mic to Sarah soon. She's going to introduce herself and all the different panelists that we have. And then we're going to discuss and have a fireside session, super casual between ourselves. For around 30 minutes. And then after that, it's going to be up to you and all the questions that you have. Then we're going to be super happy to answer all of them. So really don't hesitate during the whole session. You can ask questions in the chat. You can ask questions in the question session, which is better because it's archived. So we can go back to it later on and it's not lost into the whole chat. So yeah, that's basically it for me. I think that was super quick. And now I'm going to hand over the mic to Sarah.
Hey, thank you, Isabel. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I know it's busy, so we really appreciate your time joining us in this really special fire chat with great female founders, co-founders, CEOs, right? So I'm excited to talk to you ladies and kind of share your insight with everyone here. And I'm excited to interact with the audience tonight as well. Quick introduction about myself. I am Soo-Kyung Henriet. I'm French Korean, given my name. I am the founder and CEO of a wine tech startup called Sous de Vie. So I'm going to kind of quickly introduce all the ladies here on tonight's panel. And we'll just, go straight to our conversation. Okay. So we have a few people here, as you know. So we have, I'm just going to, follow the order that I have here. It's not the order of the videos necessarily. So we have Bosun Kim, who's a co-founder and partner at Asiance, which is a brand tech company focused on digital marketing, right? We have GERMIER-HAMEL, co-founder and CEO of Herost, which is a platform that focuses on local, sustainable, and eco-friendly travel experiences. We have Joanne J, founder and CEO of MediHeroes, which is a platform, all one-stop market B2B place for all key players in the medtech industry. And Sophie Soowon Eom, co-founder and CEO of Adriel, a all-in-one advertising and digital marketing company. So again, these are really quick introductions, and I'm just going to go straight into the first question. And you ladies can kind of, I don't have an order of, who needs to talk first. Just kind of let me know and you can answer our first question. The first question really is a very general one, but I think is an important one to understand and to have an insight on everyone's, motivation and passion, right, behind the company that you built and are still building. So the first question would be really what motivated you, what drove you to get this started, to start your company started? If anyone wants to take it. Should I put my finger on someone?
So I can start, Sarah?
Thank you, Bosun. Kathleen. Yeah, Kathleen.
So I start a long time ago, 2004 actually. It starts by meeting with Olivier, my co-founder, and we wanted to build a partner company for global brands who want to do business in Asia. And we grow ourselves, and we are transforming still here with the market trend change. And during almost 17 years, we saw a lot of changes. And actually, since about 3 years, we are trying to work for a new vision of brand tech, as Sarah introduced. So brand tech is technology for brands. And we want to work like startup. It's 17 years to get here, and we want to bring technology solutions for the brands in this very modern and technology-driven world. Everything starts by meeting with Olivier, and we had the same vision to help people coming from a different background. Yeah, it still works, this idea, and I'm very happy to share more stories about what we are doing, and yeah.
Great. Thank you, Potan. You're the first brave one to take on my question. And this actually, I think the people that we meet is incredibly important. When we start a business, when we go on with different partnerships, when we scale up, every stage I think of a business is critical who we meet. And so that's something that I kind of want to, I think, Potan, when you mentioned that's something I also want to add on the question. When you answer this, when you think about what motivated you, it could be an idea, but it could also be the people. I think there are different angles. So maybe the next person who can kind of, share her story could also add that, right? The kind of the connections that you have, but also maybe this is an industry that you were already part of and you continued it by building your own company. How about you, Joanne?
Yes, thank you for inviting me here. Yes, you're right. Till I was relocated to Silicon Valley, which is really dream of all the founders, to start a business. I have been always thinking of working at multinational companies, which I used to. And since I joined, from the day one when I joined Silicon Valley, I have been living in Silicon Valley about 4 to 5 years. All my neighbors, all my friends, they just talked about startups. My friends are working at Facebook, Google, LinkedIn back then, stuff about 10 years ago. And I was thinking, why do they want to start, run a startup? That's quite tough, isn't it? And then once I just wanted to underline the environment where you're actually staying, that it really affected me a lot. So I just hang out with all, startup founders or one of the startup founders in Silicon Valley. I have, and then I really turn around my view how to lead my career. So looking at and talking with my friends, startup founders. Okay, hang on a second. I have to also. I really had some kind of urge or desire to start my own business and also go IPO. And in fact, my neighbors, they all, left the company, and after that, the startup companies went IPO, and then there was a natural kind of course of me thinking of starting my own business. When I moved back to Korea, I joined a startup company, and then I was kind of successful in helping the company go public, publicly listed. And then with those seed money, I started my own business since 2017. And this is my third startup, MediHeroes. And yeah, again, I like underline environment, who are you working with, and the the kind of ecosystem that really encourage people to start, his or her own business. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. I think I think we were all nodding because the environment that you're in is crucial, right? You need to get inspired, right? It's always the people around us, I think, that guides us and that opens up new opportunities. And then, of course, it's up to you whether or not you see that as an opportunity and then go that direction. So thank you so much for sharing that. We would love to talk more about this is your third startup. So, I mean, serial entrepreneurship is a whole different
Not really, but I take the experience of yes, I'd like to talk more about later.
Yeah, great. Okay. So why don't Sophie, how about you?
So my first startup, so Adriel is my second startup, and I founded my first startup, Solidware, which is still very much active, in 2014. And before that, I was working for AXA Korea. You all know AXA, right? The French insurance group. And there I saw that they had a lot of customer data, but the way they predicted customers' risk was just based on very simple analysis. So I talked about it with my husband, who's French, whose name is also Olivier, like the co-founder of Bosun. And he's a machine learning expert. He had PhD in computer vision and pattern analysis. So he said, why don't we use more advanced solution to better predict people's risk for not only insurance companies, but also for banks. So that was just the idea that we had over dinner. And so we founded a startup, myself and my husband. So it was just the two of us in our living room and the kitchen. And then I think we were lucky because we started in 2014. And if you can remember, AlphaGo and all the fintech, AI, all these things that became really popular around 2015 and 16. And so we actually got acquired only 7 months after we founded the company because there was another financial institution who was looking for talent and the team that had the technology. So we were acquired pretty quickly. So it was a unique experience for me to exit my first startup. So I was lucky to have that experience, and I served for this company for another 2.5 years because of the lockup period. And after that, again, with my husband, we wanted to start something new because we have this entrepreneur gene, and we founded Adriel, which is a completely different field, digital marketing, but still using kind of similar technology, data science and machine learning. And Adriel started as a very efficient and affordable agency platform for small businesses who could not really hire an expensive agencies and who could not really run digital marketing by themselves because they just don't have the right skills and experience. So I think we were also lucky that we targeted the right segment. Now we're improving our platform even further to serve a better, more expanded segments. So for me, founding startup, it was really natural. I didn't have like the moment. Okay, now I have to start a startup. I didn't have that. I don't really remember that. It's just with my husband over like a natural conversation, we just agreed that we should do this. Otherwise, there's a huge opportunity that will be just missed. So it was more like a natural process. And the second one as well, we just liked it so much to give birth to a startup, which is kind of a similar experience to having babies and children. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you never know. Just like when you become a parent, you never know like how to do things, right? No one teaches you, and everybody has a different situation. So for me, it was a thrilling experience. And people ask me, am I going to found another startup with my husband? Right now, not really, because Adriel is growing really fast. Now we're 40 people, and we're preparing for a Series B fund, and yeah, everything's going well. So for now, I'm happy seeing the growth of Adriel. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sophie. Yeah, having your husband or your partner as a co-founder, that must have been a total different experience as well. I think some people it's super natural, like it seems like yourself, right? And I think we all have very different, of course, ways in which we start. Our start as a really great story to share. Thank you. So I'm just gonna go to Catherine, right? Share your experience with us.
Yes, no, I'm actually very inspired by what I heard, and I would say, like Sophie, being an entrepreneur is more like a natural step in my life journey because, first of all, I'm not a young entrepreneur, and I'd like to remind that entrepreneur is actually a French word which comes from entreprendre, which means undertake. So during my whole life, I undertook a lot of, I embarked on a lot of journey, ventures and projects. So I've been a project manager, project director, a consultant. And so it took me a while, I think that it was part of my DNA because my parents were entrepreneurs also, and I studied in a business school with a focus on marketing. So basically, I would say being an entrepreneur for me is a solution. It's something that actually is not a motivation to create a company or to create a startup. It was more like the startup or the enterprise is a solution to some frustrations or to something I observed that was missing. So many times, people were telling me, "Oh, Catherine, you have crazy ideas." So every time there was even my nickname. Say, no, it's not crazy ideas. This is a vision. I have a strong vision of what I want to achieve. And I'm so frustrated that it's not that people don't listen to me or don't agree with me. It's never the right time. So at some point, you just tell yourself, okay, there are some circumstances, opportunities. Let's make it happen. And the only way to make it happen for me was actually to become an independent consultant and to start my own business. And it's not really a startup, because my first business, Millennium Destinations, is a company providing services and solutions for sustainable tourism development and marketing. And during this process, I just thought that there was many things missing, that technical capacities, technical assistance to the tourism companies providing tourism services or destinations. And every time people were saying, okay, this is the way it is, tourism is like this. Why do you want to change? And now with COVID, I can think that all my visions are actually becoming real, that now people want to travel sustainably and to either, the guest or the host, they want to be responsible. They want to have a positive impact on the environment and the local communities. So 2 years ago, I had this vision that, okay, instead of focusing on the travelers, why don't we focus on the host, those providing the tourism experiences? So this is how I started to think about Herost, which means host or Herost, because many travel platforms actually focus on the needs and expectations of the travelers, but they don't really care about the host and what they do to provide sustainable, responsible, eco-friendly services and experiences. So I wanted to do something. It was more like an experience, I would say, Herost. Let's reverse the approach. Let's focus first on the needs and expectation of the host, which kind of tourists they want to welcome, and let's make a platform to support them, to highlight their sustainability performance and commitment, engagement, and then let's ask them which kind of tourists would you like to attract. And well, this is still a project, but I'm very happy that now the platform is online. But right now nobody almost can travel, which is actually good, because actually, as you correctly mentioned, I still have some co-founders for Herost, but basically now I'm operating the platform on my own. And I would say this COVID situation again gave me time, gave me even more motivation to transform Herost from an idea to a company. Because I think when you have a company, you become to feel more responsible. You have some goals. You have some even a stronger purpose. It's not just like okay, let's make it. It's okay, no, it's real, and people rely on you, to for their business also. It's not just like I'm on my own. It's just involving so many persons, and now Herost has become a network, and we have Herost ambassadors who are young people who are actually sharing the same values, and they really want to be part of it. So I can feel the responsibility, but I would say now I'm over 50. I have to say it, we are in Korea, so it's not a big deal, to tell your age. I would say, and I don't care. I would say, I think it's the right moment for me. I have the experience. I had the failure before, and I think now I'm having this new venture. I'm almost, I would say, I'm fearless. I don't have the stress. I don't feel the stress or the burden of, succeeding. I'm just, enjoying this experience. So. And well, I don't know until when, but right now I would say I'm more comfortable, with many things.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. I think, we're all coming from very different backgrounds. We're at very different stages. Some have founded several startups. It's not their first startup, right? Like Joanne and Sophie, for example, and just different businesses and projects right prior that lead us to make certain decisions. And we are here now. But something that bonds us is something that I'd like to talk about now. Is also we're all in Korea, right? Geographically speaking, we are in Korea, and I think our audience would also be interested in how female founders and CEOs make it out in this market. Now, I don't necessarily want to talk about, the gender differences. Men or female, I think we all go through immense amount of challenges and difficulties when we're a founder or CEO. So not in that sense, but I think there are certain things that maybe our speakers tonight can talk about. If you have specific maybe episodes, where maybe because you're a woman, you succeeded in something, right? You had a different impact. Maybe because you're a woman, you saw something from a different angle and you're able to find a solution differently than your, male colleagues. So if there are any episodes like this, where, being a female doesn't necessarily mean difficulties, but also means, success or difference, something different, something that we can just, solution that's different from the norm that we're able to provide on the table. If there's a story or an episode like that you'd like to share, that'd be really great. Or just challenges too. I'm just I don't want to just be negative and say we're women and therefore we face challenges. I don't want gender to be the issue. But just because you're a woman, what are the successes and challenges that you saw?
Yeah, can I go first?
Absolutely, please.
Because I've been running 2 companies with my husband, who is a male founder. So I'm not sure if it would be correct to put, in this way, like I'm like this because I'm female and he's like that because he's male. Well, everybody has a different personality and different approach, different attitude, different, type of leadership, right? But it's just, we say women tend to relate better to people. So I think that's my strength probably, and sometimes weakness when it comes to managing the team. So my husband, he tends to be, let's say, like, if I just simply put it, he's sometimes more aggressive. He's sometimes more brutal with his team. It's very meritocracy-based performance evaluation, and when someone does a bad job, then he just directly points that out, and there's no mercy, and that does help. In terms of like putting more stress and a bit of stress, and to make our team excel. Whereas I'm more like a mother type of manager. So whenever there's someone who's not performing well, I go talk with him or her, like, what's the problem? Like, is there any other reason that I don't see? And sometimes there are really reasons, and I can more like try to solve a problem for our team, and then he or she performs better after that. So I'm more patient, and I relate better, and I communicate better. So like the team tends to like my leadership, but when it becomes a weakness, I think, when the team grows really fast and when there are a lot of challenges, and it is required for the team to really stretch. And, sometimes we really need to overcome the stress and just work really well. And then at that moment, I tend to count on my husband, who has more aggressive and more, I would say more, I don't know, stronger leadership. But I think having both of us like combined as a leadership team, I think that has been really, really a big positive aspect to Adriel. So I think there are good and like pro and con, but as a woman, it does help to communicate and relate to my team.
Absolutely. I feel like communication is everything. When communication fails, the project fails, everything just kind of, what happens, right? No, but that's, thanks so much for sharing, Sophie. All different leadership styles, of course, and all different communication styles, for sure. And I think especially when you have a co-founder, I think there's some areas it's nice when the two are different and complement each other, but still be able to communicate. Great. Can anyone interested in taking this question? Maybe one more person? Great, Joanne.
I think male founders or female founders, regardless of gender, I think we all got a lot of challenges when we start a business. But uniquely in Korea, from female founder perspectives, we don't really have a good role model that really inspire us, can mentor us compared to other countries. Because I've been working in the US and Europe and other countries, Singapore, Hong Kong. I can't really single out or pick one specific very achieved female leader or businesswoman that I can think of. I regard as my role model in Korea. My role model is not specifically a female founders. My role model is actually not mainly male, business founders overseas, because I can't find a single person. I grew up with my dream when I went to elementary school, middle school, high school. My dream was never being a business person. Because my family, for example, I grew up with all boys. No, girl, sister. I don't have sisters, cousins, all males. And my mom always wanted to be a professor or doctor or accountant, which is totally against my personality. But I didn't have any female friends or cousins and family who have been successful in business. So that's why I didn't think of becoming a startup founder. I have been thinking of becoming and starting my own business when I went to overseas, especially. I started working in Hong Kong and then in Germany, but I also didn't think of starting business. I just started to think of, starting my own business in Silicon Valley, because there are a lot of successful female leaders there. And whenever I had a time, I just went to meet them and also hear from them and how they started their own business. And after I watching them, female leaders in the US, starting their own story and sharing their own story, it really inspired me. Oh, then why can't I start my own business? And then this why I'm still continuing to be a serial entrepreneurs. In Korea, as a French Tech Connect actually explained, through this program, we have only 8.9% of female founders in Korea, very, very low compared to other countries. So that's the difference in Korea. So why I want to continue is because I also want to be a role model to my daughter, for example. And I see a lot of young female, students in 20s and 30s, and then I see they are very talented, very motivated, but I can't really find the good mentors who can really mentor them and guide them to become as successful as male founders in Korea, not just in Korea, but also in overseas. So this is, I would say, there's some unique and difference to be a female founder in Korea, geographically. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joanne. I think
I
that's a
cannot
really good
agree
point.
more to what Joanne say. Yeah, just to want to comment that. Yeah.
No, go ahead, Bosun. Would you like to say more about that? Because
Yes.
I completely agree too.
Yeah. So quickly, Joanne talking about missing role model here. And here, there are certain good image for girls and ladies and women. So I think I see the importance of education, and we definitely need a role model. And I really agree with Joanne from my heart that I also I see actually when I'm telling to my daughters that I heard from my mom. That's not exactly what I want to give as a model. I want to give to my daughters modern ladies enjoying fully their life, and they don't afraid of anything. So that I wanted to comment. And regarding being a female entrepreneur, I agreed also with Sophie, what Sophie mentioned. And I think when I becoming mother, so I also learn big things. Life, I cannot fully control by myself. There are things that I should accept, and I think I could see also people, world, society with a bigger angle. And I think this experience grow me to be maybe better leader, because before getting parents, I worked as much as I wanted. I slept when I wanted to sleep. I drank as much as I want. So yeah, but now I see there are some time there we should accept others, and all these things I could really learn from this experience of marriage and parenting. So I think being female is really good thing to be a good leader and entrepreneur.
Thank you. Yeah, if we add on the whole being a mother on top of being founder and CEO, I don't have that experience yet, so I don't know. I will need role models to get me through it. But that must be that's a whole different set of, I think, algorithm, if I may call it like that. And only females can experience it, right? Just biologically speaking. And so that's something that's so interesting. But I also want to go back to the idea of role models, because as we said in the very beginning, we talked about how environment is so important, right? The environment in which you are in, the people you meet, inspire us, guide us through certain directions, and can lead us to start a project or an idea, startup, right? But we also have, we're passionate, right? Passion, I think, is something that links us all and all entrepreneurs. But we start with passion, and there are times that passion can kind of fizzle out, right? When I think it evolves. I think passion evolves. Our very early stage passion may be very different when you're like Sophie, when Series B is coming, and and you're looking at it from a very different perspective, and maybe even more practical or just different. I think, perspective. And so my question is, when your passion kind of fizzles out, or your passion takes on a different shape and form, I think we go through our lows. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, something that we don't talk enough about is it's pretty lonely to be a founder. I think it's pretty lonely to continue that journey. What do you do? Do you seek for, I think we all tend to seek for support, or maybe we like our time alone, depending on, your personality. But I think that's when role models really come in as well. So that Joanne, when you talked about role models, it kind of made me think about what do you do when you hit your low points? Who do you seek for? What do you seek for? And has that been pretty successful?
I have to say I'm not very successful yet. I think like Catherine's passion never, I think never phase out. I think she is just her passion, I think, pumping out. But I have to juggle, I have to balance on my personal life with business. And maybe the motivation that keeps me going is, even if I don't have a role model, because I want to be a role model to my daughter. I want, when my daughter becomes, reaches my age, I want her to be, I just hope that she can do whatever she wants to, a bit better than what I face right now. It doesn't mean that I have a lot of face. It doesn't mean that I am disadvantages because I'm a female. To simply put, and then when I'm tired, or when my energy is all is burned out, I just stop doing anything. I just I would say disappear, means in Korean 잠수탄다, because I need some time to get refreshed. And then have to think of, I start to envision, okay, hang on a second, why I have been so busy, what I want to do, where should I go? And I just stop and drop everything that I need for myself. And then my energy and motivation and passion, is replenished. And then I think, as I have been doing over the past 20 years still, and then I am going back to the very first kind of moment when I started my own business. So that means that after I take a enough break, which I need, and then I just get my energies back. So that's all I need, and that's how I get my passion. Sorry about that, passion, as well as motivation back to reality.
Thank you. That ringtone was very timely when you said passion and your phone started buzzing. It was like the perfect music for that. Great. Anyone would like to also share how you, and then we have a question. I do want to, Chloe from Australia asked us this question, so I want to get to that, but I do want to hear maybe maybe Catherine, would you to?
Yes, I wanted to, explain that sometimes, life is difficult, and we all, so first, before I wanted to explain that I think that, in my opinion, all women I know actually, and are courageous, and I think that this courage and this also this capacity to observe and to have this kind of intuition is something that I didn't find in many men. It doesn't mean that they don't have those qualities, but maybe, those qualities are more, let's say, hidden. Personally, I'm gender blind, so I don't pay attention too much to the fact that I'm a woman, or I never use it, and I never, want to use it, so like Joanne, I think, or Sophie, I don't remember. I grew up, without role models. I grew up with, like Joanne, I grew up with men boys first, and I was a tomboy. And then my first experience when I worked in a water and sanitation group, there was only consultant, 50, 60 years old. I was probably the only woman. So never came to my mind that, I had to behave differently. So I just behave like them, So sometimes I think I'm a little like behaving like in a masculine way, maybe, but I still have this natural, intuition and compassion sometimes, many times. So that's why I started this impact company. So I would say that in Korea, I was amazed, to meet so many strong women, and actually including Bosun. I think Bosun, you really inspired me. I remember I went to your parents' house, and I was watching the photo album of Bosun when she was a student, and already, she was really, she really looked so strong, so passionate and so driven. So yeah, Bosun, I could already feel with the photo that you would be a very successful career woman. And I think that also it's a matter of personality. Many times we say, "Oh, you should start your company." I think it's not for everybody, and you shouldn't. I think women or men shouldn't put too much pressure on themselves. You have to be kind with yourself. You have to be understanding. You don't need to compete with everybody. You don't need to be a person that you don't want to be. You have to be true to yourself, and you have to follow your passion, and you have to respect other people. I think that's the most important. What I found in Korea sometimes is that probably people are too much educated with competition in mind. This is a very competitive society, and I think that many women compete with other women. And I think also many women are too harsh on themselves, or many women are putting limits to themselves because they are insecure and probably they lack role models. So I really want, to tell them that you can be whoever you want to be. Don't put a limit to yourself. And the only person you need to be accountable for is yourself, because at the end of the day, what you are feeling, what you are achieving is yours. It's not to other people. So what I would like to see is more like understanding and synergies and cooperation rather than competition and always trying to be better than other people. I know this is business. I know there is a competition, but at the same time, if you want to fulfill your life purpose, you cannot always be in a competitive mood. You have to be also in a compassionate and cooperative mindset. So this is probably sometimes I wish I could have more, let's say, more support or better role model. But I would say the good thing is that now, I'm coming to an age where I have much more male hormones than female hormones. So that makes me probably a little more aggressive than before. I think that my husband doesn't like it, but for business it's good, So probably that's the end. That's the end of my speaking now. I will give the word to the younger ladies.
If I may just jump in, because you talked about entrepreneurship and loneliness, I just want to share this article written by, maybe some of you you've already read, written by the founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman. And the title of the article is Entrepreneurship and Loneliness. And the article starts with the sentence, "It's lonely at the top. It's even lonelier to be an entrepreneur." And he basically talks about seeking for help outside and be really transparent and honest, even with your team members. it is sometimes hard to show all my like emotions and my anxiousness and like my worries and concerns, because I feel like as a leader, I have this pressure. I have to feel always confident. I have to look confident because they're just following me. So if I look weak, they're going to leave me. But actually, Reid Hoffman says it's completely okay to some people. It's completely okay to be honest and show feelings, and they will trust you even more, and they would love to support you. So and also that's how I found good talents to become middle management of my company, because like those are people that I can trust, and they actually feel happy. They said they're happy when I share all the concerns and worries transparently, because they can, you know, they feel that I trust them, and they can also give me suggestions. They can be a help. They're not just the followers, and they're not just mere employees. They can also be kind of like founding members and like colleagues with me. So that's how I grew my middle management. So like that's and that's the best way to get rid of the loneliness when you're an entrepreneur. So.
Super. Thank you, Sophie.
Yeah, and finding the right people is always, that's key. You know, it's extremely difficult. The right resources, the right people, that's our biggest resource. Thank you, Sophie. I do want to, because I know it's 7:52 already. I know, Joanne, you have until 8 p.m. So I do want to just take on at least one question that we had from Chloe Yu from Australia. So good evening from Sydney. Hi, Chloe. So her question is, so how can we encourage more women to take on more leadership positions? Such as, I know Bosun talked about education earlier. And I think that's when the question actually came about, when we were talking about role models and the need for more role models. So yeah, how can we encourage more women to take on leadership positions, such as, you know, founders or CEOs? If anyone wants to take on that, let's talk about Korea specifically. I think that would, because I know we all worked in different places, but if we were to talk specifically about Korea, what are some of the things that you think we could do? Is that grand?
No, that's a good question, because I think, again, you know, that many Korean women, they are actually leading the family. And so they have this capacity, you know, to lead a household and to lead the financial management of the household, and to educate children. And, you know, I would say many women are educated, and it's not not only a matter of education, but also, you know, the capacity to be leaders. I think that probably the society needs to acknowledge the fact that they have the full capacity to be leaders, and not just, I would say sometimes, you know, positive, you know, discrimination is not good, because it tends to suggest that we give this is a favor we give you to put you, you know, on the stage. I would say that at some point we just need to to educate also boys that women are equal, they have the same capacities, and educate men, not only boys, but maybe men it's too late. But you know, I seriously don't understand, you know, maybe that's the naive part of me, why, you know, from so many centuries, men were supposed to be superior as women. You know, I was shocked, you know, when I was a child, that women were denied a soul. So it's really harsh, and it's really violent. So I really think that, you know, I don't have a solution, but I think that it's a matter of a general consensus that women can be leaders. It shouldn't be seen as extraordinary. It should be seen as normal. So let's not make it like just something that's so special. We are born leaders, so we need to keep this in mind.
I'm still agitating. It's good to say because I'm inside. I'm confused about what I'm telling, but I think we should admire and accept that our society, especially Korea, the place for women and men, it's not equal. So I think we already, because it's not equal and not balanced, I think it's better to let some better chance to women. And I want to share an experience I saw from some partner company co-founded by woman founder and male founder. And they are two of them very, very special people and very smart. And they built some new products, and they decided to let a female founder as a voice of the brands, because they knew that, for example, Asiance, for example, I think maybe Olivier is here. Olivier and I, we are co-founder from the beginning. If I still very recently go to the restaurant that they don't know exactly who we are, and I still had some comments like, are you Olivier's assistant? It still happened because they have this prejudgment, because they didn't see many female founder, female boss. So they naturally think that male is boss and female is a secretary. So because of this unbalanced situation, I think we need to let more place to female potential leaders. I don't know if all of you agree, but I think it can help the situation.
Yes, I agree with Bosun. Yes, when I go to have a contract or when the restaurant, everybody call me 사모님, not 사장님. Even I'm an old, right? So nobody consider me as 사장님, which is exactly, CEO. Just call me CEO's wife. But what I would like to say, there are a lot of challenges still, as Bosun said, that the female and the males in Korea, we don't start from we don't actually have the same starting point, right? But nevertheless, don't care about it. And that there are a lot of challenges on sexual discrimination or the gender bias. I'm not in the right position to talk about this because I started my first career overseas. The reason why I could this so far is because I started my career overseas. I did not really have any, I was not really discriminated because I'm a female. Actually, the other way around. So it's a joke. I don't want everybody think it's serious, but a lot of young, talented female, colleagues that I know, I tell them, okay, leave Korea and do whatever you want to. If there's opportunity, you go for it. And the Korean woman, you're very highly educated. You have a courage, and if you can find an opportunity outside Korea, this is the best way you can start your career. And they come back to Korea like me. And wherever you go, not just in Korea, but also in the US, there are a lot of challenges. What I want to say to the young female colleagues who just started a career or who are just going to graduate from school now, just fight for your own rights and don't try to be a superwoman. And you cannot be good mom, you cannot be a good sister, good wife, you cannot be a good CEO at the same time. I just give up my family. I'm sorry to say this, but you have to be very realistic. If you then I know I cannot be a good boss. So I just pay to hire my housewife to take care of my housework because I don't have a wife here, right? So you have to, don't try to be superwoman and to be super good at everything. And you have to let it go and just try to stay focused. If there are challenges, just ask for help, as Bosun and Sophie and Catherine said. And don't be stressed out. Just if there any challenge you face, and let it go. And then when time comes, you can, you will have enough. You will get refreshed to continue. When you face challenges, there will be always challenges from now on, in the past, and even when you are reaching 60s, 70s, 80s. So that's what I want to say to the audience when you face challenges, not just specifically in career, but also over.
Thank you, Joanne. Oh, I think we touched upon so many points. I wish we could discuss them more. I mean, even when Joanne talked about how don't try to be a superwoman, right? You can't just be perfect at everything. At some point, you're just going to have to maybe let go of one. Some people may agree, some people may not, right? I think this is an issue that I think especially women talk about a lot, right? Can we have it all or not? But before, that's a whole different range of topics. So before we touch upon that, or I don't think you would have time to even talk about it, I'm not sure, but I'd like to mention just one more question that we have from Elizabeth River. So she's inspired. Thank you, Elizabeth, for being inspired. I'm glad you were able to join us. Your question, Elizabeth, is, okay, so her question is, at what point an interest became a passion? And that passion, when you saw that passion, what made you say to yourself, okay, this is my passion. How do I pursue it? Or do I really want to pursue it? So was there a point when, because we all talked about, this is kind of, I think, goes along with the first question that we tackled in the beginning, right? What motivated you to actually start your business? And we talked about how entrepreneur can be a lifestyle. You see a problem, you want to solve it, right? You see a gap in the market, or it's you just kind of naturally, hey, I want to do this because I'm passionate about this. Elizabeth's question is more about, okay, that could be an interest, right? I think we can be interested in many things in life, but at what point do we say, okay, this is a passion that I cannot let go? And at what point do we actually say, I want to do something about this?
Well, if I may very quickly, I think it's almost chemical, you know. It's the same as when you notice someone and you have interest in that person, and then you become obsessed because you cannot sleep, and then your thoughts are just focused on that person. So I think it's the same for a project or for any anything in life, you know. A passion, and I would say passion, there is also the idea of that it is painful because this is the origin of the word. I would say a passion is that, well, when you can't sleep because you think about this all the time, and then you are just like obsessed and focused on that. So sometimes the passion is not very okay, I'm passionate. So, but sometimes it's not very healthy. So you need to save time sometimes, you know, to do all those things and to think about something else. But I can feel that when I'm talking about something with passion, people can feel the energy. I think it's really a matter of also of energy, the energy that you save and you focus for the object or subject of your passion. So passion is not, I would say, enough. You need to transform it into action. You know, you need to move forward. So passion is great. You know, it's a fuel, but you need to use it properly. You know, you need to make things happen. So to answer the question, I don't know if I answer the question. I think it's you can feel when something is transformed from interest to passion, because you feel good, actually. You feel energized. And again, it's also a matter of chemistry, I would say.
Okay, so more of a gut feel almost, right? Intuition that this is something that you want to do something about. How about Sophie or Joanne or Bosun?
Yes,
Anything to add?
So there's a rule called 40% rule. Not sure if you've heard of it. it's a rule kind of defined a long time ago in Silicon Valley. 40% rule is basically a rule that says if your product or your service or your company suddenly disappears tomorrow, then what will be the proportion of your current clients that will like be desperate? If you can say like at least 40%, more than 40% of my current clients will say, oh my God, what's gonna do now? Like without Adriel, without Asiance, without MediHeroes, then you're successful. So whenever I see a client who says, oh, I love Adriel, without this service, I don't know what I would have done, I feel passion. And I feel the same way when my team members, my employees say that. When my team members say, oh, I love working for Adriel, I don't know where else I could go if it was not for Adriel, that's when I truly feel passion. So when my clients or my team members say such things, I feel really proud. And when I hear that, it doesn't matter anymore, like, you know, how much revenues we've generated, how much profit we generated. And I'm sorry, Bosun, because she's an angel investor in Adriel, but when investors say something good, that doesn't really add to my passion. But when my clients and employees say something positive about Adriel, I feel really proud and I feel passion.
We all like the transparency and honesty on this panel. Thank you. Anyone else, perhaps, that would like to? I think it's a really great question because we don't really think about that moment where we're like, yeah, let's do it. Or maybe we do. I think it really depends on the person. Some people just really need that mark, right? And telling ourselves, okay, now it's time. Or some people just kind of naturally becomes. So I thought that was a really good question and wanted to make sure we ask to all the speakers. Hopefully, Elizabeth, this was insightful for you. We have another question from L Moon. Have you gained any experience about raising funds in Korea? So, and how that experience has been. Can you share information, I guess, any government or private organization for support for specifically female entrepreneurs in Korea? That's a good question as well.
When it comes to private funds, private like VCs, like financial investors, I think there's almost zero advantage when you're a female entrepreneur, and zero advantage when you're a male entrepreneur. Investors don't care about your gender. Investors only care about your business potential. So for me, there was no plus, no minus being a female entrepreneur. But I think outside of Korea, there are some like US VCs. I've seen US funds who specifically was formed to be invested in female founder companies. Although those are like small funds, there are funds that exist, formed just to invest in female founder companies. But not, I haven't seen one in Korea. So in Korea, it was really about market potential, the team that can make the dream happen. So it was really about the market and the team. And there are government funds, but there's not necessarily an advantage for female founders. So yeah, there's no advantage, but there's no disadvantage. It's really about business.
I don't quite remember if I may add. There is one, I think, 한국 여성 벤처 기업 협회, the Korean Female Venture Association, something like that. And then they do fund, startups funded by female founders. but it's not a lot. But still, their targets, the funds target are female founders specifically. I don't remember the exact name, but I will share with the Sarah or Isabel later on, so that you can take a look into the funds that just aimed for female founders later.
Okay, great. Thank you. My experience has been quite different with VCs. I've actually had a really bad experience, especially with the Korean VCs, but I won't go into it. But for me, it definitely wasn't just about business. I wish it could have been. But that's something that has been kind of hard for me to talk about. But I think that's something hopefully, later on we can also have, more chats about this, because I think it's a pretty brutal ecosystem. And some people, I think, have very different experiences. And my experience, and especially maybe as a mixed woman in Korea, has been quite interesting. And I'm someone who's pretty opinionated, and I voiced out my opinions. And I definitely didn't stay quiet throughout the process. But I think it's really important to, whatever experience we have. Sometimes you really do wish it was very practical and business oriented, and it's not, and that's when the frustration comes about, and that's when you're reminded you're a woman, and those are the times where it made me really angry. But that's just kind of like my little something that I wanted to just quickly share. But I think it's already 8:12. So I think we talked for a little longer than an hour. I'm trying to see if there are more questions. If there are, please, I think maybe we have time for one last question. If we just wait a few more minutes. Otherwise, I think we can just start wrapping up. Or if, Bosun, did you have anything to share?
Yes, I think we talk a lot from our perspective, female perspective. And I want to mention that I got a lot of support from male partners, and it's very important. Actually, I agree that because working women like us, we have very high expectation for ourselves and about the work. We tend often very competitive. But I think during my work experience, I got a lot of support actually from male partners and also life partner. It's teamwork. So it's very important support from also males. That's the last thing that I want to add.
Absolutely. As Catherine say, hopefully when there are men, it's not too late. That was a pretty funny comment that you said earlier, so wanted to bring that back up. But absolutely, I think that I've personally had so much support as well from men around me. So that's a really good point. Thank you, Bosun. I think the last question, we talked about this earlier, but just to wrap up, right? If you have kind of like a few words to share with, I think we have a few students, but also maybe women and men on our audience that are interested, right, in starting their own business, and maybe that interest would go into passion and passion into action, right? Who knows? So if you have a few words that you'd like to share with them before we leave this panel, it could be really anything. It could be motivational words, or just anything that you'd like to, if you were a role model for someone, what would you like to share?
If I may. I don't know. Can you hear me? Yeah. So, I'm a marketing person, as I told you. So I would say that very important is to do your own SWOT analysis, be aware of your strengths and weaknesses, and seize the opportunities and overcome the challenges, the threats. My word is not from myself, I wish I could create a beautiful quote, but not today. So I would say, make your life a masterpiece. I think for me it's very, I don't want to elaborate too much because, I think we have one life. We maybe have more, but let's consider we have one, and let's make it, a masterpiece, and let's not, let other people be an obstacle to this life project. So that's it. Believe in yourself because you are here for a purpose, and that's it.
I like to say that just do it now. I mean, everybody has the same as yours, and what makes difference between you and the entrepreneur is doing now. Whatever idea you have, just take action right now. That makes a difference. Okay, that's it.
Anyone else? Sophie and Bosun?
I think if I was not entrepreneur, I think life was much less exciting. So I want to encourage to entrepreneur and entrepreneur. I think we are very well positioned to make change, meaningful change. All the service and product, which can make people's habit in a better way. So that's why I think being entrepreneur is really great thing. And Asiance is my first company. I'm trying to participate to some other project by angel investor or co-founders because it's really special experience. So yeah, I really want to encourage you guys to entrepreneur your project.
Sophie? You got the last golden sentence to share with us. Just kidding. No pressure.
Yeah, I would recommend founding probably not just a startup, but founding something. It can be anything. Don't be shy. Don't just assume that it's a disadvantage to be a woman. Just don't care about your gender. Don't care about your situation. Just look at the goal, and always seek for help. Like at the end of the day, like I'm not sure, like Bosun, I mean, she was like such a big figure for me, and now like we're friends, like we're all people. So like when you seek for people, your world becomes bigger. Like don't be shy when you ask for help, like to anyone.
Okay, awesome. I think that would wrap it up. I think we had a pretty good conversation, right? Hopefully you all enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It was a great moderation, I think.
No, I think we should continue this conversation with over a glass of wine or beer, right, next time. But I want to thank the audience as well for the great questions, but just sticking through the panel with us. I hope this was, inspiring as it was for all of us. And I think am I supposed to pass the mic back to you, Isabel?
You can, if you want.
Okay, I will just throw it through the screen.
Let people know how this is gonna end, but it's actually just the beginning of something else. Because this is just the end of the panel session. So this is just the end of everyone talking. But then now you can all, at the end of the session, you will be able to go back to the lounge, the place you came in, and then you will be able to go to any tables that you want and talk to people directly and have an actual online networking session. So I really, feel free to go in, feel free to stay as long as you want, or feel free to do whatever you want and go talk directly to all of our great speakers of today. We had a lot of good, really, really great insight. I'm so happy that we had good feedback from everyone here. So yeah, that was just my little touch at the end, just to explain how it's going to work from now on. So yeah, everyone's ready. We can go on to the networking session. Or do you want to say last words, Sarah?
No, let's go to the lounge.
Okay,
Am I supposed to go to a different room? I feel like I need to go somewhere else.
But I actually know that some of you already prepared their beverage for tonight. So please feel free to enjoy. And I really want to thank you all for coming, joining, asking us all of those great questions. Huge thanks to all of the speakers that came from. I know that Joanne, you're actually late for another meeting later on. So thank you.
I can't believe.
But thank you for staying with us until the end. And yeah, let's wrap up this session and let's go to the networking and the lounge. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Isabel.